Good morning everybody and welcome to this game between Fnatic and WarriorsGaming.Unity for the Boston Major 2016 Southeast Asian Qualifiers. Taking a look at this game today because I had to pick something to take a look at because I wanted to do a cast and that's really all I went into it. So as per bans, we have a Shadow Demon and Kotl for Fnatic and a Slaughter and Batch Rider for WarriorsGaming.Unity. Juggernaut gonna be the first pick here, and now we're going into the second picking stage. Juggernaut first pick, not too crazy, although a little bit unusual, right? Juggernaut is a very powerful hero, but these days we are usually expecting heroes along the lines of, you know, maybe Ogre Magi, there we go, right? Or an Outworld Devourer to be picked up first. But Juggernaut coming out right away, seems WarriorsGaming.Unity really favors that hero. And there's nothing wrong with that. Juggernaut is a very powerful hero. Axe coming out from Fnatic. So with the Ogre Magi and Axe, they already have two heroes that are difficult to deal with during the laning stage and can become very, very tanky. Which can turn into a little bit of a hassle, right? Axe is actually quite powerful against Juggernaut as well. There's this really fun interaction with Axe and Juggernaut, and let me explain this really quick, okay? We'll talk about the bans and such in a second, but with Axe, if you have Blade Mail and you jump a Juggernaut and taunt them, right, then Juggernaut attacks you and the Juggernaut takes the damage himself. Makes perfect sense. However, if the Juggernaut is spinning, then you only take the spin damage. The Juggernaut doesn't take any spin damage though, of course, because he's magic immune. However, you don't take any right-click damage because the Juggernaut's attacks are reduced to 0 if he is spinning and he's attacking a non-building. However, and this is where it gets kind of funny, the Juggernaut will be taking full right-click damage because Blade Mail returns damage before reductions. Isn't that funny? Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? But yeah, that's how it works. So, you can taunt a spinning Juggernaut with Axe and Blade Mail, and he'll actually just rip himself apart. It's really, really interesting. It's a quite unique interaction to it. Does make sense, but anyhow. We've got the TA and OD coming out for Fnatic, and then the Lifestealer and Medusa bans for WarriorsGaming.Unity. The Lifestealer, of course, is a response to the Axe. Axe is a hero that really likes Blink Dagger, you know, a hero that works really, really well with Blink Dagger, and a hero that straight up disables people when he initiates, which is a dream for Lifestealer. That's exactly what he's looking for, right? So the Lifestealer would be jumping inside of the Axe blinks in on a guy, taunts them, then the Lifestealer destroys them with right clicks. So Lifestealer being banned out here, and then we've got the Medusa also being banned. I imagine that's probably more of a respect ban. Medusa is a powerful hero, but not usually worthy of a ban, right? Unless WarriorsGaming.Unity has something in mind there. We got the Warlock coming out, nothing surprising there. Witch Doctor, nothing surprising there. I mean, Witch Doctor maybe not as popular these days anymore, but still a really, really solid hero. And Ursa. Now, that is interesting, and Ursa. So, Ursa actually has quite a few things going for him this game. First of all, you've got the Ogre Magi making him faster, right? Making him have more attack speed. Usually, well, actually, the only problem Ursa has is really being locked down, you know? Ursa deals a ton of damage, and that is his big advantage. It's kind of difficult to kill too with that ultimate, but people can just run away from him, and then he becomes kind of weak, because in the end, all an Ursa can do is click on people, where he's very good at clicking on people, but that's all he's got. So the Ursa, with the movement speed buff and attack speed buff from the Ogre Magi, is going to be able to catch up to people easier. On top of that, you got the massive slow from the Warlock, you got Ignite slowing them down even more, even Battle Hunger slowing people down. And of course, you got Initiation from the Axe, the Stun from the Warlock ultimate, and the Ogre Magi just locking people down all over the place. This is actually a really nice setup for Ursa. On top of that, the Ursa works pretty decently against the Juggernaut. Juggernaut, of course, wants to Omni-Slash somebody to kind of get an instant kill, right? If a Juggernaut goes in and uses Omni-Slash, you expect somebody to die. However, Ursa can actually just straight up tank an Omni-Slash. You activate that ultimate, and all of a sudden, it's not really a big deal, right? The 80% damage reduction from the Enrage is too much even for that Juggernaut ultimate to handle.
10 seconds to go.
So, we got the Invoker last pick for Warriors Gaming. By the way, gonna be the Beastmaster here, and now the last ban for the Radiant. If we look at Fnatic, they are looking at probably a mid, so the Pugna being banned out. That is unusual. I imagine that's a respect ban. Gotta admit, I didn't do research really on these teams, so I don't know if Fnatic did play Pugna a lot, but that is definitely on you. Pugna is not even a hero that is picked up, really. So, alright, but sure. Tinker coming out for the Radiant. Tinker, of course, gonna be taking the mid here. I like the Tinker pick a lot. Very good against Ursa. Again, Ursa, all he can do is click on people. And, okay, you got stuff to kind of, you know, lock him down with the Beastmaster and the Witch Doctor stun, but sometimes that's not really enough. But the Tinker laser that's coming out every second, that's just stupid. Right? Like, if you're playing Ursa, that's the worst thing you could be going up against. So, yeah, the Ursa might struggle a little bit as a result. I also expect the Tinker to go for an Aghanim's build here, especially considering there's a Storm Spirit in play as well. That is gonna be something quite powerful. Oh, we got TPs coming into the mid right away. Let me slow this down really quick. We have got the Elder Titan smoked up and his TP in the mid. Gonna put down a ward and just make sure that this camp is blocked, as well as gaining some vision, also blocking this camp over there. In the meantime, look at this. Fnatic is actually going for Roshan. Isn't that interesting? They're using the Ogre Magi's natural tankiness, as well as the Bloodlust buff to do this. This actually seems very, very possible. You can see right here that... Oh no! Oh no, he scouts it out! They know what's going on! And that's gonna stop the Roshan attempt. Absolutely. The Fury Swipes, they reset. Nice bash right there from the big guy. And now we got Ajit coming in. The Storm connects on Mushi. 1 down, 2 down. The first blood goes to the Witch Doctor. Second blood to the Beastmaster. Ohio being slowed down a little bit by the dog. But that's of course not going to be enough to secure a kill there. Still, that actually ended up in quite a bit of a disaster. Which is surprising to me. Honestly, the Ursa... Ogre Magi combination is not really what you think of when you think Roshan level 1, but as you can see, it worked out fine, right? And honestly, it might have been the Warlock that gave it away. Warlock coming in, dropping a Shadow Word. Why would the Warlock need to use a Shadow Word yet? Right? That doesn't make sense. So the enemy team saw the Warlock had less mana. Alright, they're doing Roshan. Right? I mean, they're taking damage from something. There are no creeps on the map. They're not tower diving. How would that even be a thing? They are very clearly doing Roshan. That is the only option left. So let's go and check that really quick. Right? So I feel like that might have actually cost them. In the mid, we got Ajit on the Juggernaut. I'm actually surprised to see the Juggernaut going mid over the Tinker. I think Tinker would do just fine against a Storm Spirit. However, Juggernaut might struggle a little bit against an Axe. So that could be the reason there. And Juggernaut, of course, is actually a quite powerful mid hero. He's not on the level of a Tinker. I don't think so at all. But he definitely does pretty damn well. And, you know, it's just kind of like the spin, making it so it's really difficult to kill him. You've got the healing, of course, coming out. You can keep that all the way in the back. Oh, they're actually going to get the axe here. Nice. Tinker and Witch Doctor securing that kill. That's, of course, the advantage of having the Tinker down here. Who also started out with boots right away, you know, going for that. Mushi, kind of diving in on a Juggernaut a little bit. So, a Juggernaut is one of those heroes that can do well in the mid, simply based on... kind of fear. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but Juggernaut is pretty decent in the mid lane here. Just because until the Storm is level 6, he always needs to be worried about just getting spun on. Right? And if he gets if Mushi gets spun on right now, he might actually just be dead. Right? And that constant threat of death, that is a problem. Right? And everybody is affected by that. Everybody. Top tier players, bottom tier players, it doesn't matter. There's nobody that can get past that. That's why for, you know, in the early days of Dota, when the game was very different, people used to play Putch in the mid, right? Now, Putch in the mid, of course, not viable anymore, but back then it worked. That's just kind of because the overall power level in the game was a little bit lower. But Putch in the mid worked, and the reason for that was very simple. You always needed to be worried about a hook. And if you get hooked, you're probably dead. And that's kind of a problem. And you can see right here, Ajit, with a little bit of micromanagement, the Storm Spirit won't ever actually be able to close in on that ward. It's too fast, running around with its blaze at movement speed. And, you know, that's just kind of Juggernaut here, right? He's got a lot of sustainability, and he's always got that threat, you know, Always got that fear of death. Oh, Warlock, by the way, picking up a smoke, taking down the courier. And that is a lot of money. Holy shit, man. That is very unfortunate. 1060 gold, that's bottle and boots. So that's actually a pretty big deal. RG is definitely very unhappy about it. And now Demon coming into the mid here. Who's still, by the way, level 1. The level 1 Warlock now finally level 2, but he's just been taking it easy. At the bottom lane, Ohio actually in kind of an awkward spot again. He's got the Maledict on, a missile flying, as well as the laser. He might be dead. Yes, he is dead. It's just a question, can he deny himself? No. Nova will be able to pick up that kill. But it's a flying courier. And it's gonna deny himself to Roshan, actually. You know, while you're here, might as well. Might as well. Meantime, we've got the Ogre Magi interrupting the Beastmaster a little bit. This, by the way, is the Beastmaster's insane farming ability, right? Beastmaster already level 5. Level 5. That is insane, right? If you look at overall hero level, Juggernaut is level 5. But Juggernaut is mid, right? And other than that, it's just the Beastmaster's level 5 already, and you gotta keep in mind, he's being interrupted, right? He's got the Ogre Magi in his face, and he still managed to get that far ahead so quickly. It's insane. It is just absolutely insane. Now let's very quickly talk about who is playing who. We've kind of skipped out on that because of the early action, but we got Raven on the Ursa, sitting in the top lane, Demon on the Warlock, supporting him, also rotating into the mid, occasionally Mushi on the Storm Spirit, just kind of trying his best to stay alive, but we got the Stomp Spin, but that's too risky. Juggernaut can't tank the tower right now. There's definitely a chance that he might just die, so a little bit unfortunate, but Mushi will end up being fine. At the bottom we got AU on the Ogre Magi, currently TPing back, and then of course we already saw Ohio on the Axe, who is currently just in the jungle. Seems he's kind of given up on this bottom lane, which seems about appropriate by now. Alright, I feel like he maybe should have done that a little bit earlier, but alright. He's just kind of gonna be farming in the jungle now. I always like it when Axes go into the jungle early. I'm a fan of Beastmaster going into the jungle early. Just abandon that offlane. I mean, if you send this hero into the offlane, he's gonna have much worse farm than if you just put him into the jungle. And okay, sometimes you can try to shut them down, but the Axe can't do anything against this lane, right? And you should have realized this after the first death. Right, it just became really obvious right away. It's just like, nah, this is just not going to work. So just put them in the jungle. It's not like Warrior Gaming have amazing roaming heroes, right? They got the Elder Titan who is going about the place a little bit, but Elder Titan is not really gonna be killing the Axe now. And by the way, nice ultimate right there, just secures the kill on the Warlock. You know, pretty simple right there. The only reason why you would not want to do the jungling thing is to kind of stack up the jungle and make sure that Mushi gets the most value out of it. That's actually something that is quite a good argument, honestly. However, I don't think that's what's going on here. Right? Oh, look at that. We got a little bit of a gank, but no. Now, we of course got a second team. We got WarriorsGaming.Unity. We got X-Nova on the Witch Doctor. We've got the Beastmaster being played by Kangaroo. At the bottom, Nana on the Tinker. Mid, we saw Ajit on the Juggernaut. And then, of course, Afu. Okay, funny names right there. Oh, ooh, Afu kind of dropping low right there. In the meantime, actually, the Storm Spirit runs into the two people trying to gank him, but he just turns it around really quick. And honestly, the Beastmaster dying before he gets off the roar might have been a blessing in disguise there, because that was a panic roar. That wouldn't have changed anything, right? There was no way he gets out of there, absolutely none. And this way he still has it ready. So, yeah. Alright. Still, Raven at the top lane almost gets a kill on the Elder Titan, and he's just gonna continue farming though. Of course, the Ursa, just making sure he has money. Grabs himself a Windlace. Mobility, that's the key word with this hero. You always want to be in your opponent's face. That can be really difficult with Ursa, because he doesn't really have any inherent movement abilities. So what you spend most of your money on is movement, right? You get yourself a Blink Dagger, sometimes even a Force Staff. I actually don't even think that's a bad build at all. Then of course there's always the incredibly valuable Lifesteal, and BKB. That is the name of the game. Blink BKB lifesteal. That's Ursa. Alright, like how some heroes are just figured out like that. Meantime, up at the top, Demon goes down, roared up by Kangaroo. Now at bottom, we've got a gank down, the smoke coming in. Alright, they're gonna go for Nana. Taunt, and that's a quick kill. There's not really much the Tinker can do right there. That's really one of those kills, by the way. If this happens to you in a game, right? If you get ganked like Nana just did, don't let it affect you at all. Because it is absolutely something that you can do nothing about. Right? Yes, you're going to die right there. Yes, it sucks. No, it is not your fault. No, there was nothing you could have done. Roshan is being killed here. And it seems to me like Warrior Gaming's know this. They absolutely do. I mean, they've got a ward right here. This is a known thing, but they just didn't have anybody around to try and defend us. With the Tinker dead, they're kind of gonna stomp out the Ogre Mage, you know, and Ajit is coming in. However, Mushi standing between any potential targets and the Juggernaut. He's actually gonna go for the Warlock. The Warlock falls, and oh, Ajit, he doesn't want to commit to the Ogre Mage, and he's just gonna sacrifice the Elder Titan. Oh, the miss right there. There, he's just gonna sacrifice the Elder Titan. But the Storm Spirit standing between any potential Omni-slash targets and the Juggernaut definitely helped Fnatic a lot there, you know. Definitely helping them get out of there. Get out of there safely. And yes, the Warlock died, but whatever, who cares? Right, like, I know that sounds rude, but who cares? It's a Warlock. That's kind of what he's supposed to do. This hero is a meat shield. That's his point, and a good ultimate. Like, what Warlock does, he throws down a heal, drops Bob, and then at that point he might as well die, right? Like, if he at that point soaks up 1,000 damage in some sort of ultimate fashion, I guess, right? If the Warlock, I feel like the dream fight for Demon in this game, right? As he runs in, he puts down the Fatal Bonds, he puts down the Shadow Word on somebody, not himself, right? Drops Bob, and then gets Omni-slashed. And that's the dream fight for the Warlock. If that happens to him, he's happy as a pancake, because then one of those incredibly scary ultimates is just gone, right? It's not gonna lock down any of the other heroes, and he got everything done he needs to get done, and he's got time to micromanage Bob now, you know. And I don't know. You always gotta keep that in mind. So Ajit gonna grab himself the bounty rune right here. He's got face boots, bottle, and drums. So going for a lot of movement speed here, making sure he can fight early, and that seems like quite a decent choice. Being fast, incredibly valuable against Ursa, of course, right? Ursa, as I've mentioned so many times before, very powerful, but struggles with beating people up. Alright, like, he can kill them if he gets there, but getting there is a problem. Mushi kind of diving deep here. He's gonna be stomped to sleep, but of course Maledict cancels that immediately. Mushi should be dead here. He's trying to heal himself up with the bottle, and actually it seems like the Edict won't be enough. Very close on that, and Mushi will get himself out. Stomp? Oh, nice. They get him. That's pretty big. So that's an Aegis down. I mean, okay, it's not huge in terms of, hey, we killed the Storm Spirit, right? But making sure that Aegis isn't in play is quite valuable. So Mushi falling right there, I'm sure WarriorsGaming.Unity is quite happy about it. TP into the bottom. Of course, the TP boots on the Tinker complete now. 11 minutes, perfectly fine timing, about what you would expect. And now he's gonna start farming. That's of course one of the huge advantages of this hero, right? He just pushes down everything constantly. It's just such a big issue. Really huge. And honestly, I expect this Tinker to be a big player in this game. He seems like he should be able to really get a lot done here. Oh, at the bottom, by the way, we got Ohio. Gonna be stunned up. The Stomp comes out. Connects on two. But Bob dropped the roar on Ohio. But that's the Axe. Axe can tank this for days. Mushi also in the fight. Now we got a spin. Ajit gonna be going down to the Ursa. Actually, no, never mind. Ajit is still okay. Survives with 40 HP. Just barely escapes. One hit off of death. And Demon retreats himself out of there. We've got the Elder Titan Spirit still on his bot, but that bot is gonna be just fine. Kangaroo, by the way, very close to Necrobookborn. He's kind of slowed down his farming a little bit, honestly. Like, he's had that great start in the jungle, but ever since then he's been trying to fight, and it just hasn't really worked out. Alright, he's 1-1 and 3, which is fine, don't get me wrong. right? But usually you hope every time you use the Primal Roar you get a kill on. Honestly, the only time that worked was in the last fight. So, Beastmaster doing not that great. And you gotta keep in mind, his one kill that he's got so far, that was actually the very beginning. You know, the Roshan encounter, Kangaroo got a kill there as well as the Witch Doctor. So, a little bit of a problem there. But he's just gonna be chilling at the bottom. Now, this is one of the things about Tinker that you always have to keep in mind. While Tinker is an absolute god at farming, he does kind of take farm away from your team. Because Tinker is not the kind of hero that maximizes his farming. And let me actually rephrase that. Tinker is not the kind of hero that is gonna make sure to get every last hit in every single creep wave. Right? And that means he needs more creep waves to get the same amount of money. Now, of course, Tinker, he has the ability to get those because he can teleport anywhere and just farm everything. But that means there's less money available overall to his team. It's all centered on the Tinker, but the Tinker isn't very efficient with his farming. So, you know, I think you're starting to catch the drift there. As a result, heroes like the Beastmaster and the Witch Doctor and the Elder Titan, they're the ones suffering here. Of course, Ajit, Juggernaut, should still be able to find enough money, but honestly, I'm a little bit worried about Kangaroo here, right? And, well, he almost got his Necrobook too already, so maybe that's a little unnecessary. But I just wanted to make that point, that Tinker kind of takes up a lot of resources. And kind of a disproportional amount, right? He takes up more resources than he actually gets. Who's at the bottom? The Ursa killing the Witch Doctor, and now we got Demon. Actually, Ursa kills the Witch Doctor at the top. Now we got Demon caught out. Omni Slash, gonna be enough. We secure that kill really quick, and Ajit now working on a Battle Fury, it seems. I actually really like that Battle Fury plan. Usually, a little split on the Battle Fury. I really think Battle Fury is a matter of, you gotta have it in the right kind of game, right? But I feel like in this match, WarriorsGaming.Unity, they absolutely win if they take it to the late, right? And they're already doing pretty okay. I mean, this game is even. But an even match is a match won by the team that wants the game to take longer, right? It's really that simple. So, the Juggernaut going for a Battle Fury, that just means that he's going to be more powerful in the late game, right? And late game is really where the Radiant is going to take it, because they got that Tinker always pushing back the lanes, and it's going to be really hard for Fnatic to get through that. I love this Tinker pick. I think this Tinker pick shuts them down completely, honestly. Alright, Axe taking a lot of damage here to sleep. The spin on top of him as well. Ohio will die. Now they're going for AU. Tinker coming in. That's just a dead ogre. Oh god. Maledict secures that one. Mushi gonna TP out, and yeah, Fnatic, they know they can't fight that anymore. They absolutely cannot fight that anymore. But Tinker is just such a force in this match. And again, you can already see that. He's just already starting to dominate. He's got his Blink Dagger now. He's getting richer and richer by the second. In terms of net worth, he is second highest in the game. Juggernaut ahead of him, of course, but Juggernaut got a great kill score. Lots of last hits as well, you know. And seems we're gonna go ahead and push down this bottom tower. I don't think they'll commit to anything, though. That seems a little bit unnecessary, so... AU coming in, buffs up the tower, makes it big. Actually, it seems he wants that Necrobug minion. Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, he takes a lot of damage for it, but he can always just go back to the base, right? I mean, he's an Ogre Magi, he doesn't really have anything else to do, so he can always just walk back, and then he has more money, right? Because those things are actually worth a lot. Bob coming out at the bottom. They're gonna try to kill the Juggernaut. Should go down. Yes, he falls. The Earth Splitter coming out though, connects on Ohio. Now Afu is on the run. Nana also sitting in the middle of this, but Mushi is hasted up, so it's gonna be a little bit difficult to fight him. Not only is he hasted, but he's also got an Arcane Rune. So, Mushi definitely quite powerful. Okay, the Spirit kind of floating back to the Elder Titan here, who's gonna be just fine. But in the end, Juggernaut goes down right there. That's a good fight for Fnatic. Alright, Fnatic should absolutely be happy with that fight. That worked out really well for them. Killing the Juggernaut, incredibly valuable, right? Like, this guy is going to be a problem if you don't deal with him. Juggernaut just straight up beats Ursa. Like, let's just say it like this. Juggernaut just beats Ursa in almost every regard. Ursa brings some things to the table that Juggernaut doesn't, but in the same regard, so does Juggernaut bring some things to the table that the Ursa doesn't. Overall, I would argue that Juggernaut is the better hero. Although that is not really that relevant, right? I think Raven is actually quite powerful in this particular match, as long as we ignore the Tinker. Now, the thing about the Ursa, though, is in the late game, he doesn't stand a chance against the Juggernaut. That's just not a doable matchup. You can't win it. Trust me, I have tried so many times. It's just not possible. Juggernaut becomes much more powerful than an Ursa ever will. And he always wins that. So Ursa really needs to use his early game. Right, that's what he's got going for him. That's when Ursa shines. Ursa shines at 30 minutes after his third Roshan kill with an Aegis on him and a cheese on somebody else, you know. Then you go and end the game. That's kind of the game plan with him. Now, Ursa also brings a lot to this game in particular for Fnatic, because Ursa has the ability to kill Roshan very easily. Of course, Storm Spirit is one of the best Aegis carriers, if not the single best Aegis carrier in the entire game. So having always access to that Roshan kill every time you get any sort of advantage is actually huge. Right? That is really valuable for Fnatic. Roshan is up as well, so they might want to consider doing that again. Right? But I'm just saying that overall, this is it's gonna be an interesting match. Alright, there's definitely things going back and forth. I still think both teams can do it, although right now the burden of the outplay is on Fnatic. Fnatic are the ones that cannot continue like this. If the game continues at its current pace, then it will just end with them losing. So they need to change something, right? And that doesn't mean they have to go super aggressive right now. That just means they have to have a game plan of sorts in mind, which I'm sure they do. Mushi, by the way, he's got his Bloodstone, so that's really good. Alright, it's not an early Bloodstone, not at all, but it's a Bloodstone at least, so it's a start, right? Ohio got his Blink Dagger. Ogre Club, BKB, I assume. Bit of an odd choice, but okay. I mean, I would expect the Blade Mail, but I guess he wants a BKB. Warlock has got nothing, as expected. AU working on the Mecha, very close actually, very close, as well as Mana Boots. It's actually quite a rich Ogre. Right, he's definitely doing well. And we got a Spirit coming in. Stomp, gonna be online. Oh no, he's waiting it out. And there we go. Ursa gets stunned up. Now we got the double sleep on both Roshan and the Bear. Earth Splitter comes in. Raven. Oh, he dodges it. And he tries to go for Roshan again. Beastmaster stunned up. Well, he hasn't used the roar yet. And he goes down. No Necroborg, no roar from him. They're chasing down the Elder Titan next. However, the stuns from the Witch Doctor as well as the ward up on the hill. Nana is also up on the cliff, spamming the march, spamming the missiles. And Raven goes down. Juggernaut comes in, cutting up the Ogre Magi as well. And is now looking for a little bit more. However, it seems the march chased the rest of Fnatic away. Demon caught out. The stomp is going to be enough to secure that kill. Yes, and RG just kind of slices him up. Mushi the only one to escape that fight for Fnatic. And even though it actually started out pretty well, honestly, I mean, they got the kill on the Beastmaster. That positioning from the Tinker and from the Witch Doctor just screwed them over so badly. They were up on the cliff and secured all the kills they could ever ask for, you know. And you can see Tinker right here going for an E-Phalanx. E-Phalanx always, well, not always, but almost always means we're gonna be seeing the Aghanim's build, right? That's usually what the E-Phalanx implies. Maybe he just wants the E-Phalanx because laser is really valuable this game. Sure, right, that makes sense too. But usually if there's an E-Phalanx, you'll see an Aghanim's. It's gonna be a Yule's first in this match, which is a little bit surprising, I guess. But maybe he's just a little scared. He's just kind of running out of inventory spots, I feel. But okay, you know, whatever you say. Mushi, by the way, going for Orchid, I guess, and he's dead. It's just a dead Storm Spirit. Wow. AU also on the run, but he is dead. That's a dead Ogre. Actually, he's not quite dead yet, but now he is. There we go. Yeah, that is not good. Losing the Storm Spirit like that. Of course, he's got the Aegis, so that's going to be a quick resurrection. Not the Aegis, the Bloodstone. That's going to be a quick resurrection, but he just got the Bloodstone. He's already down to 8 charges. I mean, that's not good. And honestly, Mushi just doesn't have any farm. Like, he's got 123 last hits, but he died twice. You know, and he's just not really keeping up with the Tinker or the Juggernaut. If you look at the net worth here, this is just not good. And not really sure if there's much more she can do about it. Fnatic is a bit of an awkward spot. Yeah, God, it's just all the Tinker, man. This guy is so good here. It's such a beautiful pick. I really love that pick. Have I iterated already how much I love this pick? Tinker is just the absolute dream here. Not only is Tinker super powerful because of the laser and shit, but also you can actually TP on the Beastmaster, right? TP on the bird. Oh, Mushi jumps in! Oh god, up he goes, the Yules. Nope, Ohio interrupts the Storm, but a roar coming out on the Storm anyway, and the Storm will go down. Witch Doctor tearing everything apart with his ultimate, gonna be eaten up by the Ursa though. Chasing down RG now, the multicast comes out, Juggernaut, Omni Slash, not gonna be able to cast it, but he's got the edges, so he will be back. Another Storm from Afu, keeping RG safe. Now Kangaroo is still around, we got the Juggernaut here as well. Juggernaut of course has the Omni Slash available, and Raven used the ultimate. Now honestly, I feel like the Juggernaut could go back in here, but he's not willing to risk it. He doesn't want to get stunned up by either the Ogre Magi or the Axe. So he's just gonna say, you know what, take those 2 kills. We're just gonna retreat out of there. And that seems like the safe play, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's got his Yasha, by the way. Probably gonna be a Manta Star, could be a Sentient Yasha. You never know with Juggernaut. They're gonna see. I think it's a Manta Star though. Yeah, it's gonna be a Manta Star. Like these days, Manta Star is more popular, but honestly, Sentient Yasha or Manta Star, they're both good items, right? Really can't go either way, but you would usually expect the Manta Star, and that's exactly what we'll see here. Kangaroo, by the way, working on his Blink Dagger, I hope. We need some additional initiation from this guy, of course. Would be incredibly valuable. The Witch Doctor, he's got really nothing at all, but the Yours is now complete on the Elder Titan, so we've got that very powerful Yours into Storm combination. You know, if you can pull it off, it's actually... If you can pull it off reliably, that is super strong, right? Super strong. Yours also complete on Tinker now. Makes it incredibly hard to kill him. Right. He drops nothing for that, of course, but this is the big question now. What is he gonna drop? Right, like, I guess, I don't know. I mean, I guess the bottle. Oh, he just gonna use up the Ursa as he comes in, puts down the March yet again. Meantime, Radiant is just pushing down the tier 3 here. And Fnatic is teleporting in now, but this tower is almost dead already. TP in from the Tinker. Puts down a March, and actually they're just gonna spin on it. The tier 3 goes down. Oh, Storm Spirit sipping in, already using a huge amount of mana there. I'm actually not happy with that at all. I don't know what that was about. Yeah, Mushi comes in with the sap, or with the ultimate, but now he's at... Yeah, well, he was at half his mana, now he's regenerating, of course, but... That really wouldn't have been good if Warrior Gaming, like if Warrior Gaming's, Warriors Gaming, it's Warriors Gaming, not Warrior Gaming, Warriors Gaming. Although Warrior Gaming makes a lot more sense. Warriors Gaming.Unity, if they had pushed for a fight, that would have been a bit of an issue, honestly. Alright, got the Oblivion Staff and the Storm now, he's still working on his Orchid. Just not really making a lot of progress here, like... It's just, if you look at the network here, it's just a Juggernaut and a Tinker there. It's just so far ahead. They're so far ahead. And a Ghost Scepter. Okay, so seems like Tinker's gonna prioritize not being killed by Ursa here. Right? And he just thinks, alright, missiles and laser and March, that's all going to be enough. I don't need any more than that. I just need to not be killed by the Ursa. And that's where the Ghost Scepter is gonna be huge, of course, right? Not only that, but you got the Yules. That's gonna allow him to purge out of the Orchid, once we see that. So overall, we've got Nana going for a very defensive build here, but I don't really see an issue with that, and Mushi is dead yet again. This is just not good. This just can't keep happening, but the Radiant is pushing really far ahead now. Really far ahead, and this is really the timing when you would expect Fnatic to actually be making aggressive plays. You know, you would want them to go for pushes, you want them to force Roshan's and fights. Make stuff happen, because that's what Ursa is good at. You know, Ursa is an early aggression hero. But in the you know, while that's what should be happening, in actuality they just lost the barracks. And seems like the melee one is also under siege, so yeah, that's for sure. And the March is just keeping them away. Storm comes in, but it's There's nothing he can really do, so even though it doesn't seem like they'll use the melee barracks just yet, ranged one goes down, and that's already a problem. Right, Nana now coming in, starts spamming March yet again. Spamming it as much as he can. We got the cancel from Demon. But those illusions, they're breaking down that barracks. And kind of a problem, honestly. Right, look at how far back the Radiant is too. They're nowhere near that. Alright, the illusions are coming in from half the map away, but they just clear out the creep wave and then send in whatever summons they have to deal damage to the barracks, and eventually it's gonna die. This kind of pushing style that has become really popular over the past few months is just, it's really, really effective if your opponent doesn't really want to fight. Alright, because they need to like go out there and actively push for a fight, else it's just not going to happen, you know, and else you'll just lose your barracks. And there we go, goes down. Right, and now the Radiant can just retreat themselves out of there. They have no reason to stick around because they got everything they would want. And gonna go into the mid. Beastmaster now surpassing both the Ursa and the Storm and farm. Oh man, Blink Dagger ready on him as well as a whole bunch of additional money, but yeah. I mean, Mushi is now getting close to the Orchid, but I really wonder how effective that is going to be. And of course, we've got a Raven. He always got a Basher, now working on the Aghanims. Questionable. Definitely. I mean, the Aghanims, don't get me wrong, it's a good item, but the Basher, a little bit odd. Honestly, what I would have liked to see is a Diffuser Blade. Alright, now, of course, he didn't know for sure the Tinker was gonna go for that Ethereal Blade, but honestly, it's a Tinker. I mean, you can kind of expect it. And that's where the Diffuser Blade would be really nice. You just kind of purge whatever is ethereal, like either yourself or him, and all of a sudden it's not that powerful anymore and you can actually get some hits in. Also slows them down really hard. If you're like, Diffuser Blade on Ursa is actually a really, really strong item. Juggernaut, he's got the Manta Star as well as an Ultimate Orb, so it's gonna be the Skadi next. Just what you would expect. Does he have it? Not quite. He is about 500 gold off, so he's gonna take down this camp and then move over to the Ancients, and with that he should get it. Like, that should be enough money. Dragon camp is about 300 gold, I think. So, yeah, about. Close. Actually, the illusions over there are gonna secure it. So, that is a Skadi on our Jeet. And a Skadi on the Juggernaut is gonna shut down everything Ursa wants to do. Right? Previously, the one thing Ursa had going for him is nobody could one-on-one fight him properly. I guess Tinker, but I don't really... Yeah, well, but if it comes to just a straight-up fist fight, the Ursa wins almost every time, but now that's not true anymore. The Juggernaut is gonna be able to take that as well. And another smoke here. I wonder where they're going. They're kind of painting out an interesting course on the minimap here. Okay, Nova has a different idea of what they should be doing here. Using the bird to scout out Fnatic, of course. Alright. There is the Ogre Magi. They must know he's here. Huh. No, I don't know. Seems like they're just gonna leave it be. Yeah. Smoke attempt, but they didn't want to overcommit. And honestly, that's a small play right now. You know, they're far ahead. So really all they have to do is continue to grind this out. Right? Like, just continue to grind out Fnatic, and eventually you'll have all of their buildings. Alright, just farm up some more, because map control. Fnatic hasn't killed 2 towers yet. They've killed 1 tower. They got this tower. That's it. Mid tower isn't down, top tower isn't down, right? This is just, there's no space on the map for them. Look at the vision. This is what Warriors Gaming sees. This is what Fnatic sees. Fnatic is blind. They are blind, right? Well, the Radiant, they get to do whatever they want. They don't even need to hide that they're doing Roshan, because how could Fnatic possibly know? And even if they know, can they fight it? It doesn't matter, right? They can't just go in and kill Roshan, because why not? So they're gonna take that, and that's an Aegis on the Juggernaut now. A little surprised that goes on the Juggernaut, expected it on the Tinker, but I guess the Tinker doesn't really want to drop anything, right? Arjit. Oh, he's gonna be taunted up by Ohio, who doesn't have a Blade Mail or BKB instead, so that's not really gonna do anything. Tinker called out though. The stun, the silence, however, Ephiro Blade on himself. Omni Slash used, and Ohio goes down. Mushi taking a little bit of that damage as well, even though he was in the Yules. Now we got the Beastmaster running in, he's got the Roar still available. Actually, AU gonna be taking down the Necrobook though in the meantime. In the background, we lose the Warlock, we lose the Ursa. Roar finally secures the kill on Raven, and that's 3 down for 1, but I mean, that's 2 cores for support. And there we go with the push, Juggernaut. Now, of course, another huge advantage of Tinker is just that endless sustain, right? This hero never has to go back. That's a barracks. That's just straight up a barracks. There's nothing the Tinker, not the Tinker, but the Storm Spirit can do on his own. And look at that. The illusions are just left to their own devices here. And they're going top instead. Alright, the Glyph. So the illusions are not actually going to be enough to kill that. Yeah, they maybe left that lane a little bit early. So they'll at least get that top tower though. Alright, they'll secure that. And now spin himself out. Would really like it if they could secure that mid barracks though. Mushi goes in on Tinker, Nana. Can't take that for days. He's not really that squishy. But Ohio taunts him up. The slow, but no real follow-ups. Storm gets a few hits in. However, the refresh coming out. And Ephiro Blade, silence, the Yules, up he goes, blink in a second, and Nana doesn't get out, goes down, taunt on the Axe, but Axe, you know, is, actually taunt on the Juggernaut, please excuse that, taunt on the Juggernaut, he throws down the Healing Word now, Raven taking a lot of damage, but Juggernaut, he's just gonna be fighting it out with him, he's honestly not afraid, no, he doesn't give a shit, look at that, he just takes him down, Ephiro Blade misses even a Tinker, casts it on the Juggernaut instead, but he's just coming in, Nana. He's had enough of this, buying back, cleaning up house, but I don't know if that was actually the best idea. Yules himself, and the silence, the takedown from the Storm. Mushi, triple kill, and gonna be on Ohio. Ajit, in the meantime, he drops the Omni Slash, gets 1, gets a barracks, get 2 barracks actually, mid barracks also done. There's only 1 single range barracks left for Fnatic. And Mushi's out of mana. Of course, the resurrection from Ajit on the Juggernaut, who's just gonna run himself out. Activates the man to start the purge of the slow. And honestly, I feel like WarriorsGaming.Unity, even though they kind of like had a dieback and shit, and they lost some heroes, that was still really good for them. I mean, they got 3 barracks, right? They got the mid melee, they got a top melee in range, because after a little while, Juggernaut just stopped caring. Juggernaut just wanted to make sure they win that game. He's gonna be selling drums here and get himself a butterfly. Keeping the cheese over the drums, very reasonable, absolutely. And God, look at this guy. He's just so insanely farmed now. That Juggernaut is just so nasty. But if you take, look, this is how far Fnatic is behind right now. But if you take the Juggernaut out of this game, right, you remove the Juggernaut from the Radiant, Fnatic is still behind the network. Right, that's how bad it is looking. So, yeah, I gotta smoke here. I'm not even gonna bother smoking up our food. Seems at this point they're just being, you know, a little chill about it because they're so far ahead. The Ghost chasing down Mushi, who still hasn't really made much progress. He's got his Orchid, but nothing since then, and just goes top, pushes down that lane, and TP's back into the base. Demon actually picking up an Aghanim's, look at that. Warlock somehow runs into some money here. And we got Medallion of Courage and Mecha on AU, Ogre Magi, so he's doing okay. He's actually going in really deep, and they get the Beastmaster. That's a quick kill. However, Raven drops so low, the Maledict. Nova, Yules, he goes up, the Enrage is just not going to be enough, and Raven is actually just going to die to support. Finally, Nana secures the kill. In the meantime, we got a Juggernaut just taking apart Fnatic. He takes down Demon. He's gonna go for AU next, but honestly, Ogre Magi is this guy's just free food, chopped up. It's gonna be Ohio last, and Ohio goes down. The GG is called. 2 Bobs are standing there, but they are also just another creep to be eaten. And Fnatic calls it. Perfectly reasonable. And WarriorsGaming.Unity takes the game. That was a cool game, I enjoyed that. I think I did okay. As per usual, please don't forget to leave feedback on these casts. I'm trying really hard to get better. But yeah, anyway. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.